Weapons in Star Wars are more than just swinging lightsabers. From planet killers to mind twisters, these machines weren't just built for destruction, they were built to shape the galaxy itself. Some are legendary, others lurk in the shadows of canon and legends. So let's dive in and uncover the most devastating creations ever unleashed in a galaxy far, far away. Number 10. Eclipse-class Star Dreadnoughts. Starting off, the Eclipse-class Star Dreadnoughts is so massive that it made Imperial-class Star Destroyers look like escort vessels. But what makes the Eclipse more than just a really, really big ship? Designed under Emperor Palpatine during his Dark Empire reign in Legends, the Eclipse wasn't just a show of size. Instead, it was built around a super laser capable of cracking planetary crusts. Not quite Death Star level destruction, but enough to trigger planet-killing chain reactions. Scary? Definitely. Overkill? Possibly. But here's the kicker that you need to know. The Eclipse also had a Gravitic rift generator, making hyperspace travel unpredictable around it, and rendering enemy fleets nearly useless. But how do you deploy a ship this colossal in a battle? And could anything realistically stand against it? According to Star Wars trivia, the Eclipse was originally designed for Dark Empire comics in the early 90s, which was a visual representation of Palpatine's ego and obsession with fear-based rule. Some early concept art even shows it overshadowing Coruscant like a floating continent. Number 9. The Death Star. It's the most iconic superweapon in the galaxy, a technological terror with the power to wipe out entire planets. But here's the twist. The Death Star's legacy is as much about failure as it is about fear. The original Death Star didn't just destroy Alderaan, it shattered any illusion that the Empire played by rules. It was shock and awe on a galactic scale. But beneath the surface, it was a lumbering behemoth. Overbuilt, overhyped, and ultimately overconfident. It had a glaring flaw, a literal 1-meter wide exhaust port, and it only took one rebel pilot with the Force on his side to blow the whole thing sky high. Then came the second Death Star, bigger, badder, and this time with a working super laser capable of firing multiple times. But guess what? It never even got the chance to reach its full potential. The rebels took it down before it was finished. Again. These weren't just war machines. They were monuments to the Empire's hubris. Billions of credits, years of secrecy, and still, both fell to daring acts of resistance. Sure, the Death Star redefined warfare in the galaxy, but if the ultimate weapon can be undone by a single lucky shot, how ultimate is it, really? Number 8. Xyston-Class Star Destroyers. Next up on our list are the Xyston-Class Star Destroyers, also known as the Final Order fleet from The Rise of Skywalker. But what makes these ships more than just supersized Star Destroyers? Each Xyston-Class vessel was equipped with its own planet-killing axial super laser, or in other words, a mini Death Star on every ship. Palpatine didn't just want to destroy planets, he wanted to do it on a mass scale. And he wanted to do it in a way he could send a message. It's as if the Death Star had babies and all of them were angry. But here's the catch, how do you feed that much firepower? These ships required massive Sith-engineered power sources and were so reliant on Exegol's infrastructure that they couldn't function independently. One well-placed strike to their navigation tower, and boom, all of it goes to ashes. The Xyston design was heavily based on the Imperial I-class Star Destroyer, but exaggerated to appear more brutal and angular while reinforcing the idea that the Final Order wasn't just returning to power, it was evolving into something more monstrous. Number 7. Galaxy Gun. The Galaxy Gun is the more terrifying cousin of the Death Star. Debuting in the Dark Empire 2 comics, the Galaxy Gun didn't need to move, didn't need to be hidden, and didn't even need to leave orbit. It was stationed at the Imperial throne world of Biss, and could fire hypersonic missiles across the galaxy through hyperspace, each one carrying enough payload to annihilate entire planets. Think about it, it didn't need to get close, it just pointed and deleted a world from light years away. So how did it work? The Galaxy Gun's missiles used advanced hyperdrive guidance, shielded warheads, and could even deploy decoys. The result? Near unstoppable doomsday projectiles that could only be stopped if you knew they were coming. If you didn't, well, you know how it ends. The Galaxy Gun is what actually destroys the New Republic capital, not the Death Star or Starkiller, but barely anyone talks about it. Behind the scenes, it was meant to represent long-range warfare like a space-age missile launcher, adding a real-world military threat to Star Wars. Number 6. Omega Frost. First appearing in the classic 1979 Marvel Star Wars comics, Omega Frost wasn't a planet killer like the Death Star. It was something much stranger and colder. Literally, this tech could instantly freeze anything in its path by generating a powerful energy field between two towers. Ships, troops, and even entire cities all turned to brittle ice in seconds. And that's not the only thing. Afterwards, they used to shatter and disintegrate. What made Omega Frost scary wasn't its size, it was its precision. This thing could target specific zones like planetary choke points or starship lanes. Imagine your fleet flying into a hyperspace exit only to be flash frozen and snapped apart mid-flight. Brutal. And here's the twist. Omega Frost was developed by the Separatists during the Clone Wars. Yes, you guessed it right. These were the same guys who built the droid armies, and it was almost unleashed by a villain named Baron Tag, who wanted to outshine Darth Vader. Behind the scenes, Omega Frost was part of Marvel's early efforts to expand the Star Wars universe before The Empire Strikes Back was even written. In the Legends canon, it is undoubtedly the most powerful weapon to exist. So the question for you is, would you rather face a giant laser or accept a cold ending from a distance? Number 5. Gravitic Polarization Beam. The Gravitic Polarization Beam was a rare superweapon mounted on the Malevolence, General Grievous's massive separatist warship seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. While most weapons blast, burn, or vaporize, this one took a totally different approach. It disabled entire starships by messing with their internal systems, using raw gravitational energy. That's right, this beam didn't vaporize you, it shut down your entire ship, leaving you helpless in space. The beam wasn't small-scale either. It could cripple entire fleets at once, giving the Malevolence time to move in and finish the job. It was like an intergalactic EMP mixed with a tractor beam on steroids. But what was the real threat? The sheer helplessness it created. You could have the strongest armor, the best pilots, but none of that would matter when your ship shuts off mid-flight. Fun fact, the concept for the beam came from early Clone Wars development, meant to show off Grievous's tactical mind and give the Republic a real nightmare scenario. How would you protect your ship against a beam like this? Number 4. Starkiller Base. The Starkiller Base was introduced in The Force Awakens. It was the First Order's courageous attempt to outdo everything the Empire had ever built. Instead of a space station, they took an entire planet, hollowed it on the inside, and turned it into a mobile superweapon. However, here's the twist. The base could take out multiple planets at once. It already did when it wiped out the Hosnian system with a single shot. The Starkiller Base absorbed energy from a nearby star, storing it up like a giant cosmic battery. Once fully charged, it unleashed that energy as a hyperspace-traveling beam that could reach targets light years away. Think the Death Star was crazy? This thing could fire from the other side of the galaxy. But here's the catch. Every time it fired, it drained a star dry, meaning it had limited uses before it ran out of fuel. Not exactly sustainable evil. And behind the scenes, the designers intentionally made it look like a natural evolution of the Death Star, making it snow-covered, planet-sized, and as intimidating as ever. Number 3. Centerpoint Station. In the top 3, we have Centerpoint Station, the oldest and weirdest superweapon in the entire galaxy. Unlike Death Stars or Starkiller Base, Centerpoint wasn't built by the Empire, or even by modern civilizations. This thing was like 100,000 years old. created by a mysterious race called the Celestials. So what exactly did it do? Centerpoint Station was basically a giant space tractor beam, but on a whole new level. It could move planets, yes, move entire worlds across the galaxy like puzzle pieces. But it didn't stop there. When fully activated, it could also destroy planets and stars by unleashing bursts of gravity and energy strong enough to rip them apart. And the wild part? It sat right in the Corellian system, hiding in plain sight. In the Legends timeline, the New Republic tried to keep it under wraps, but of course it eventually fell into the wrong hands. Han and Leia's son, Jacen Solo, once nearly used it to wipe out an entire alien fleet. Behind the scenes, Centerpoint was introduced in the Corellian trilogy books from the 90s and quickly became a fan favorite for just how massive and mysterious it was. Number 2, Sun Crusher. The Sun Crusher, a tiny golden craft, was introduced in the Jedi Academy trilogy from the 90s. It packed a punch that made even the Death Star look tame. Why? Because the Sun Crusher could trigger supernovas. This thing didn't just blow up planets, it destroyed entire star systems by causing the local star to go supernova. That's like nuking the sun to take out everything in its orbit. And the worst part? This thing was indestructible. Built with an armor called Quantum Crystalline, it could fly straight through a Star Destroyer and come out the other side without a scratch. Even the Death Star couldn't touch it. Now that's terrifying. Who used it? A young, not quite ready for that kind of power, Kip Duran, under the influence of a Sith spirit, took the Sun Crusher and went full-blown space vigilante, causing catastrophic damage. Number 1, Sith Superweapons. Finally, we close this list with the most terrifying force in the galaxy, Sith Superweapons. As Darth Vader warned in A New Hope, the ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. The Sith took that message and turned it into a doctrine. Their weapons don't always come with blinking lights or planet-sized reactors. Sometimes the Force itself is the weapon. In canon, the depths of Sith ingenuity are chilling. On Malachor, the ancient Sith temple housed a dark side weapon capable of petrifying thousands, freezing entire armies in stone mid-battle, trapped in agony for eternity. The dark side energy there was so potent it scarred the very land. Then there's the Fermata Cage, a twisted relic that could bend time, silence the Force, and trap beings indefinitely in temporal limbo. It wasn't just dangerous, it broke reality. Legends, as always, takes it even further. The Dark Reaper was a monstrosity that fed on life itself, turning battlefields into lifeless husks in seconds. It drew its power from the Force Harvester, ripping the energy from anything nearby, living or not. And the Thought Bomb? That wasn't just a weapon, it was a psychic apocalypse. It didn't fire a beam or launch a missile, it detonated consciousness itself, obliterating every Force-sensitive in range, and trapping their souls in eternal torment. It was designed by the Sith not just to kill, but to erase. These weren't weapons of strategy, they were symbols, monuments to fear, and sometimes only a power this dark could truly turn a Jedi's heart. Just ask Anakin Skywalker. Got a favorite we missed? Or maybe a Legends relic you think deserves the top spot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Star Wars super weapons, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one, and may the Force be with you.